What's up everybody, my name is ADC Art Attack and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial video showing you how to draw Goku Ultra Instinct. I'm going to do my best to cover all elements of this character, from the drawing itself to the line work to the colouring and finally to the aura, which is the big one, so hopefully you will enjoy that. Today's video is going to be in a new format style. I usually do my tutorials all live, but this one is going to be cut into segments, so I'll be doing some real time and some sped up, and this is just so that I can fit everything into one collective video. So that being said guys, I hope you enjoy. Let's get on with the video. Okay, so to kick things off, first things first, we want to start by drawing a nice circle. I split it into quarters just to make my life a little bit easier. You don't necessarily have to do this. And from that, I work out exactly where the angular direction of the face is pointing. And once I have those lines, I can start working on the eyebrows and figuring out where the eyes will fall following those lines. So to do this, I come back to the center point of this guide and begin drawing the 3 lines that separate the eyebrows. Once we've got those, we can begin working on the eyebrows themselves, including the eyes, following the lines we've laid out. After that's done, we come back to the center line and begin drawing the rest of the facial features, including the nose and the mouth. The tip of the nose should start directly below the center point of the eyebrow crease, and try not to come down too low with the nose. It might take some trial and error, but the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. Now personally, I like to draw the face first. It just gives me an easier time when I'm drawing the outline of the head structure, but it's entirely up to you, whichever you prefer. As I prefer doing the face first, that's actually why I do the circle method. The circle method allows me to give an accurate depiction of how big I'm going to put the head, but also allows me that little bit of freedom now to do the face the way I want to do the face, and then to build upon it, rather than just sort of having the head structure itself dictate how the face should look. After adding a few more details, the face itself is complete, and we can begin by adding the ear and making a start on the hair. Now when I make a start with this hair, what I like to do is begin by doing the 4 strands at the front of the head and then the 3 either side. Now vary the way that these are falling. For the first 4 strands, they're typically going to be falling downwards, but the side ones, they can go up, down, left, right. Add a bit of flow to them, it's entirely up to you. I like to personally only do these few hairs first because it gives me a sort of guideline for the rest of the drawing, and then I will finish the rest of it later on. So now that I've finished up the neck, which was pretty much detailed and finalized because the neck wasn't too difficult for me to do, I stopped before doing the torso because we don't actually know how the torso is going to look itself, or how big it needs to be, or how wide it's going to be. So this is where I begin using simplistic shapes, just rectangles and circles. I keep everything very basic, and I use the hair as a guideline for how wide it needs to be, and also try to figure out how long it's going to be by using the neck and the head as a guide for myself. Now a sort of habit I have is as I'm going, I like to add some details to the drawing just so I sort of visualize exactly what I'm doing and to see if everything's sort of looking correct. So what I've done here is I'm just adding the details of the clothing just to get a general idea of how well it's looking and if it is working. So yeah, everything's starting to look really good now, so I can continue on with the drawing, and I start by adding in the arm, adding in some details of this arm, and I would massively and hugely suggest that you guys do educate yourselves on muscular definition, and particularly in the Dragon Ball universe, it's quite easy to get hold of some references of Goku, Vegeta, things like that, and familiarize yourself with their bodies. It sounds a bit weird, but familiarize yourselves with their anatomy, and yeah, you'll find it massively useful in the future, and it just makes doing this such an easy time. It really does help you out. Now before we move on any further, we need to finalize this image that we've got right here. So what we're going to do now is just start adding in some of those details that we couldn't add before. Let's add in some of that battle damage, any sort of rips that you guys want to add in now. Now is the time to do it, and just sort of get a clear understanding of the direction that you want this drawing to take. This is the time to do it. Use your pencil sketches to do this right now, and it just makes inking it all that much easier later on. I would also suggest that you take into context the scene that your character's in. So what's happening right now? Is he powering up? Is he relaxed? Has he got battle damage? Has he just been in a fight? Is he angry? Is he calm? Use all of these elements to implement your battle damage into your character. If you need to, use a reference, but also remember that if a character, say Goku, is calm but he has energy flowing, his clothing will tend to be going upwards, flowing upwards. So when you add those rips, keep in mind that the ends of them should be going upwards or flowing in varied directions, just to signify and show that there is some varied movement and there is sort of like a wind or breeze around him. So now when it comes to the Ultra Instinct hair, it varies very much so. No two images are alike, so what I would suggest you do is get 5 extra strands of hair on top of what we've already got right now, add them on top in just varied shapes and sizes, varied ways, and from there work out exactly how you want them to flow. Now what you can do is add an exact copy of the face's height on top of the face. So essentially we're doubling that face's height to get the top of the headline. Play around with it and see what works best for you. See what one looks right, what one looks correct. As you're going to see in this, I just play around with it until I get it right. I couldn't figure out exactly how I wanted it, and I think I finally came to a nice even ground. Okay, so now that I'm 100% happy with what I've got on the paper, and that is so super important, guys. You need to be 100% happy with what you have done in your sketch phase, because now is the important part. Now is where we start inking. Now with inking, you only really get one shot, so don't mess it up. Get yourself a good fineliner. Now I did make a video previously on which fineliner is the best, so I definitely recommend checking it out. If not, I will link it in the description down below. And take your time with this. This stage is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy this one. I know it can be stressful sometimes, but just relax with it. It's actually my favorite part of drawing is the inking. So just take your time with it, relax. Don't worry about varying lines. Don't worry about anything. Just try to get it done the way that you envision it and be calm. Breathe as you're drawing, hold your breath when you need to, and just relax. Also, I must mention, you'll notice that I am scratching while I'm inking, but I'm also refining the lines after. Now, scratching is a bad habit. It is something that you do when you sketch, but it's not something you should be doing when you're inking. It's something I do, but I have been inking and drawing for a very long time. I'm pretty confident in my skills when I ink, so scratching doesn't affect my work too much. But that said, you can see I am doubling up over the lines just to ensure that they are smooth. So I would recommend that you try your best to focus on being smooth and just take your time. I am rushing, it's just a bad habit of mine because I've been doing this for so long, but please just relax and just enjoy it. Okay, so here we are at the all-important coloring phase, which is the one that everyone wants to know about. And yeah, I play around with the colors all the time, so I'm always changing my palette, but this is the current palette that I'll be using for coloring Goku's skin right now. I'll be basing with a vanilla, I will then go on top of it with a soft peach, and then I will go over that with Dusky Pink. Later on in this drawing, you'll notice that I'll actually move over and use a cinnamon just to add some darker layers. Now the reason I do that is because I went too dark with the clothing and I had to sort of play the contrast off, so I had to make his skin a little bit darker than I wanted to. However, I think it worked really well and I'm actually happy that I made the mistake. Now moving on to the hair, this is where it gets really fun. See, now with the Ultra Instinct, you've got the aura glowing from all sides, so it's quite difficult to pinpoint exactly where your highlights should be. So it actually works quite nicely to use greys for this instead of using white, because you can have a soft highlight across the entire hair. So what I use is a cool grey 2, a cool grey 4, and then a black for the deep natural colour. Later on I actually go into the highlights and add individual sort of shadows or hair strands, and it just adds a bit more texture to it and makes it look a bit more organic, and it's actually really nice. So regarding the clothing, well, I had no idea what I was going to do here. One of my pens actually ran out, the pro marker that I use. So I ended up using a Copic sketch, and I used the UltraMarine Copic. And now I doubled up the layer on that because I wasn't getting very good coverage with it. And then on top of that, I was trying to play around with different blues and none of them were working. So I ended up having to get a black brush marker and then use that for the shadows. Once again, it was way darker than I wanted to go, so it threw the contrast off quite a lot, but it actually worked beautifully and I'm super happy I made that mistake. Finally, we are onto the aura. Now this is the big one. This is the one that everyone struggles with, and I won't lie, I do as well. So in order to do this aura, I pulled so many references from the series itself, and I found a common denominator, which was these sort of water, sort of liquidy bubble things that flow around Goku. And you're never realistically going to be able to draw the aura exactly the way it is in the anime because it is a computer generated image. So what we do here is the next best thing. Now I do this sort of fluid bubble thing and I get myself a nice peacock blue, a lilac and a coloured pencil, all from Arteza. Now I am an affiliate of Arteza, so there is a link in my description down below. If you want any of the pencils that you see in here, there is 2 links to both the European and the US Arteza page. 100% would recommend that you get their products. But what I'm going to be doing here are these very sort of odd shaped liquidy things. They're sort of very free, so don't worry too much about being perfect with them. Very free shapes, and I'm layering a very light shade of peacock blue on them, then going around the rims of them slightly darker, then mixing in some lilac and a little bit of that darker lavender. Around the outline of each one of these, I add an extremely thin colour. Now it can either be the peacock blue or the lilac. And we won't worry too much about doing any aura just yet. All we're going to do now is just focus on these little bubbles and see what happens. I gotta say, these things are actually looking pretty cool. But if you did want to take this drawing to the next level, and maybe you wanted to add some more aura to this, which I don't actually think is necessary because it looks pretty damn cool, But what you can do is get yourself a nice light color, perhaps even that peacock blue again, and just very lightly make a sort of smoky effect in the background, layering it up, bringing some darkness to the foreground and a little bit lighter on the background, maybe even overlapping the character and putting it in front of him, but for now I think this looks pretty good. However, we are going to take it to the next level. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to get ourselves an aqua blue brush marker, and I'm going to fill in every single one of these dots, going over them and blending those colors in and making it just pop, making it look beautiful. And from there we will be ready to airbrush. And that's right, I'm going to get myself a very washed out blue color, mixing heavy white with it, and I'm going to spray very lightly, doing the technique I described with the pencils, but I just think the effect is a little bit better using the airbrush. Okay, so here it is guys, I am super happy with the result. I think it came out fantastically and I hope you guys like it too. I hope you learned stuff today and I hope I really did help you out in this new style. It's a little bit difficult for me to do this. I actually prefer doing my live tutorials. However, this allows me to just cover more aspects of a drawing in one sitting. So if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a thumbs up to support the channel, and also subscribe if you are new around here. Leave a comment down below and I will get to you as soon as possible. And if you'd like to see more tutorials in this style, then please let me know as well in a comment down below. With that being said guys, I am ADC Art Attack and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.